Hello and welcome to the 36th installment of my grading of all of the base game cards. If you want insight into the grading system, check out the description or click on the link in the top right hand corner to get to the first video, where I explain it all. But let's get started. For the first card in today's episode, we have Space Elevator. This card is an engine player's dream. If you invest heavily into mineral prod early on but don't find enough targets, there are few better cards since you can use both steel and titanium to get it down, and there's no other card that does that. Then it's basically 6 MC worth of prod and 2 points for 30, which is okay value. In addition to that, it ties up a steel prod indefinitely, which is a good thing since you'll be guaranteed to have a use for at least 1 steel per gen, reducing the risk of ending the game with a lot of unused steel. Overall, Space Elevator is a very solid card for engine, pretty bad for rush, but often a required cut in a draft against someone that is going heavy minerals. B tier for me. Next up, we get to a weird one, Space Mirrors. It's kinda similar to Underground Detonations, as it's a relatively cheap card that you can use minerals on, and then grants you an action that lets you increase one type of production for a good but not amazing price. The thing is, power production can be useful at all stages of the game, even in the late game, for example to play city cards. In contrast to that, heat prod is only useful early on. This means you get more opportunities where an activation of Space Mirrors would be justified and can be worth it. The problem remains that the cost is quite high. One activation costs the same as buying and playing Power Plant, but that one can be paid for with seal and provides useful tags, and the cost to play Space Mirrors needs to be factored in as well. And then there are situations where you just don't get enough power-hungry cards that you want to play to make this card even worth it in the first place. Overall, it's a really niche card that I sometimes find useful. It's somewhere between D and F tier, but I think I'll place it in D tier. 2 episodes ago I talked about shuttles and how it compares to Space Station, and I can only mirror what I said there. Space Station is just more flexible. Since it has no restriction, it can be played when you want to play it, early on. However, if you draw it in a mid-game, it's often a bit worse than shuttles, especially if you're going for a science combo and have leftover power prod from Mars Converter, for example. Overall, it's still a super versatile and reliable engine card, but it's not game-breaking and often has low priority in the draft. I'd say it lands in the same tier as shuttles, although it's quite a bit better. C tier for me. Next up, we get to a super niche card that has basically one situation in which it can be really good, then maybe some edge cases where it is borderline okay, and other than that, it's super useless. Special Design. If you draw this for free and you have kelp farming on hand, it can be super good and allow you to play that game-changing card 1 or 2 gens earlier. If you then also have combo potential with cards like Media Group or Marsu, Special Design can be really good. It can also be used for other cards like trees or farming, but the main use case really is kelp farming. The thing is, if you don't draw this for free and you don't have any combo potential, it's just too expensive to be worth it. I'd rather SP Oceans to get kelp down, which have some value on their own, than play Special Design for 7 MC total to do it. Like, would kelp be an S tier card if it costs 7 MC more? And if you don't have a super high payoff card with a hard to reach global requirement, Special Design is just useless. It does nothing on its own. So I'm kinda torn here. It can be nice in one specific circumstance, but only really if you draw it for free. I think that should be enough reason to place it in F tier, and so I'll do it. And lastly, we get to sponsors. This card is so super basic that I don't think I need to talk about it much. Everybody knows it, and that it's a solid card in the opening hand and then gets useless quite quickly. Discounts and Point Luna can extend that usefulness period, but yeah, it's nothing fancy. In the very first episode of the series, I placed Acquired Company in C tier, and as its smaller brother, Sponsor belongs there as well. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments whether you agree with my ratings, or if not, how you would have rated them differently. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And lastly, please check out my Twitch and my Twitter. See you in the next video.